Hello, and welcome back. Today we have, playing through my PlayStation 2 collection, number 5, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Developed and published by Midway, Deadly Alliance was released in 2002, and was the follow-up to 1997's Mortal Kombat 4, making it the first in the series on the next-generation PlayStation console. With Raiden serving as the narrator, the game continues the story of Earthrealm's greatest warriors, and the eternal battle between good and evil.
Mortal Kombat has always been, and always will be. For millennia, the forces of good and evil have been locked in eternal battle over the control of Earthrealm. Some seek to use the tournament to destroy all that is good. Others seek vengeance, power, or eternal life. Time after time, each individual threat has been vanquished, and Earthrealm has enjoyed relative peace for many years. But there is concern that Earth is once again in peril. And this time, the threat of evil has two faces. It is now known that the sorcerer Quan Chi has escaped from the Netherrealm. Since his escape, Quan Chi has unlocked the secret of the ancient runestone, discovered the ancient undefeatable army of the long-forgotten Dragon King, and most disturbing of all, formed an alliance with one of our deadliest enemies, Shang Tsung. With their combined strength, they plotted to overpower the only two beings who could prevent their total domination of the two realms. The first was the Emperor of Outworld, Shao Kahn. In a false show of allegiance, they sprung their attack. They then traveled to Earthrealm by way of a mystical portal known only to sorcerers and deities. There, they confronted Earth's mightiest warrior and champion of Mortal Kombat, Liu Kang. It has been Shang Tsung's desire to consume the soul of Earthrealm's greatest warrior.
After providing background information on the Deadly Alliance formed between Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, we bear witness to a truly shocking scene.
Liu Kang is dead.
Liu Kang's death blew my mind when I first played this game, and I couldn't believe that they actually killed off Earthrealm's greatest warrior. But, for the first and only time, Liu Kang is not a playable character.
They have since returned to Outworld and are using the souls of conquered warriors to resurrect the Dragon King's undefeatable army. Should they succeed, they will have the means to conquer Outworld and eventually Earthrealm. They will be unstoppable. I can no longer stand idly by and watch this evil consume the world. I have relinquished my status as Elder God to return to Earth and lead you all to battle against our old adversaries. We must act now. We must stop this deadly alliance.
Before starting, the game allows you to create a user profile, complete with a password, for individual record keeping and progress across multiple different accounts. There is no campaign or story mode, but arcade, combined with the new Conquest game type, will provide background information, character lore, and unique endings. Conquest is essentially a series of tutorials to get you familiar with a chosen character's moveset and playstyle, culminating in a mirror battle against yourself. Each fighter will have 10 missions to complete, and along the way, you will learn what that character has been up to since Mortal Kombat 4, and where their place lies amongst the Deadly Alliance. Some lore details are brief, while some are more extensive. In previous games, the basic attack patterns and available strategies were essentially the same, no matter who you played as. But now, each fighter has 3 unique fighting styles that can be cycled through at any point during a match, Generally, 2 of these will be for hand-to-hand combat, with the third reserved for a weapon stance. Each fighting style has strengths and weaknesses to uncover, with a nuanced flow and rhythm to combat, allowing you to seamlessly link a longer chain between all 3 stances. No longer can you simply pick up and play, as every fighter is different, with exclusive abilities, special moves, powerful strikes, stylistic combos, and of course, fatalities. By the time you complete all 10 conquest missions, you should be well versed in a particular fighter, and ready to take on Arcade Mode. Arcade Mode is the typical Mortal Kombat styled ladder of one-on-one matches, with increasing difficulty accompanied by a visual preview of the upcoming arena. You can adjust the difficulty setting to fit your skill level, and personally, I'm not very good at this game, so I'm glad this was an option. Arcade Mode will see you take on a series of 8 fights before a sub-boss fight against Moloch. Like most creature-based sub-bosses in Mortal Kombat, Moloch is extremely cheap and difficult to beat. He could smash you in the face, pull you towards him, and continuously grab and slam you into the ground, with no time to recover, block, or sidestep. I found it best to block his normal attacks as much as possible, then wait for him to wind up and miss with a slower swing. If patient enough, you could precisely attack when provided an opening, and if lucky enough, you could get a stun lock. You could hit Moloch over and over again, with no time for him to recover, with your own cheap and greatly rewarding payback. However, piss him off too much, and your face will eat dirt, and the fight will be over in the blink of an eye. After taking the ancient Oni out, only Shang Tsung and Quan Chi stand in the way of ultimate glory. I found them easier than Moloch, but still annoying, and difficult at times, with never-ending blocking and perfectly timed counterattacks. If you can conquer the latter, a victory screen will show either the demise or success of the Deadly Alliance, depending upon your chosen fighter's allegiance. In addition, a brief cutscene will play for the conquering fighter, showing the aftermath of battle, with some endings that are particularly harsh. Various aspects from some endings are considered canon, but it was not clear which until the sequel Mortal Kombat Deception was released and expanded on the story. In between arcade fights, Test Your Might returns, in which you must button mash your way through increasingly tough to break objects. This minigame was accompanied by an extremely difficult at times Test Your Sight. These will reward either Platinum or Onyx coins, a form of in-game currency. Throughout your journey, you will also earn Sapphire, Gold, Ruby, or Jade coins for completing arcade matches and conquest missions. These will be later spent in the crypt for unlockable content. Now, here are some of my gameplay highlights for each of the fighters, including some background information from Conquest Mode to set the stage, and the unique ending for completing Arcade Mode and defeating the Deadly Alliance. The Ninja Spectre Scorpion utilizes the forces of the Netherrealm to combat his foes. Although he takes no sides in the battle against the Deadly Alliance, his primary goal is to destroy the sorcerer Quan Chi for slaying his family and clan. Scorpion is nearly unstoppable and will not rest until he has exacted his revenge. Scorpion could hit with both brutal force and refined finesse, while heavily relying on sidestepping and powerful counterattacks, usually with the sword. Equipped with his trusty spear attack, there was no escaping the wrath of Scorpion.
Get over here! Scorpion wins. Get over here! Scorpion wins. Flawless victory. Scorpion wins. Fatality. The hunt for Quan Chi had led Scorpion to the palace of Shang Tsung. Scorpion entered the palace through a hidden passage. As he made his way through the lower levels, he was discovered by the two Oni he had previously encountered while in the Netherrealm. Shang Tsung had secretly allied with Moloch and Draman as a backup defense against Quan Chi. The two Oni had been hidden in an underground chamber and were periodically fed mortals to keep them satisfied. Scorpion fought well, but was overpowered by Moloch and Draman. Although they could not consume the ninja Spectre, they devised another means for eliminating their foe that would satisfy their cruel nature. The Oni brought Scorpion before the portal to the heavens that Shang Tsung had tapped as a source of limitless souls. They hurled him into the Solnado, and his hellspawn body was ripped apart by the purity of that realm.
Although quite young, Li Mei grew up in the presence of martial arts masters and can hold her own in a fight. When Kano's troops invaded her homeland under the banner of the Deadly Alliance, she fought bravely and bested many of Kano's men. She might have defeated Kano himself had Quan Chi not interfered. Li Mei relied on speed and chaining special attacks with a bit of flair and style, but don't let her jiggle physics fool you. She is not one to be taken lightly.
Li Mei wins. Li Mei wins. Fight. Li Mei wins. Li Mei wins. Finish him! Li Mei wins. Fatality. Li Mei had been promised that her people would be freed from enslavement if she could win the tournament held by the Deadly Alliance. Now that she had emerged victorious, the true purpose behind the tournament was finally revealed to her. Her soul would be the last one Shang Tsung needed to completely revive the Dragon King's lost army. Her people would never be freed, and Li Mei herself would remain trapped inside the mummified remains of a dead soldier, cursed to serve the Deadly Alliance forever.
Sub-Zero has found that the Lin Kuei Dragon Medallion has greatly improved his normal fighting abilities. In addition, it has enhanced his freezing powers in unexpected ways. Many years ago, Sub-Zero's brother was manipulated by the sorcerer Quan Chi to retrieve for him an amulet from its hiding place in Earthrealm. The sorcerer later framed Sub-Zero's brother for the death of Scorpion's family and clan, which led to his demise at the hands of the enraged Ninja Spectre. Sub-Zero was, as expected, slick and cold as ice. He relied on quick bursts and powerful sword attacks, with heavy damage following up on a frozen and vulnerable opponent.
Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Sub-Zero wins. Sub-Zero wins. Finish him! Sub-Zero wins. Fatality.
After defeating the Deadly Alliance, Sub-Zero returned to the new temple of the Lin Kuei with the severely injured ninja, Frost. A short time later, I visited the temple to commend him for his victory in Outworld and to express my gratitude for all his assistance. With Sub-Zero now the Grand Master of the Lin Kuei, Earthrealm will be well protected.
Kano has a knack for survival. Not only has he survived massive attacks from his enemies, but his lack of loyalty allows him to change sides to suit his goals. This mercenary has betrayed many who have called him ally. Although Motaro had rescued Kano, it was merely to imprison him, so he could later face the wrath of Shao Kahn for his failure to defeat Sonya. But the Shokan warrior Shiva slew Motaro outside of Kano's cell. She was on her way to assassinate Shao Kahn as well when Kano offered his assistance if Shiva let him out of his cage. Kano and Shiva proceeded to the throne room of Shao Kahn. When they arrived at the door, Kano suggested that he go first to distract the Emperor. Kano would give the signal for Shiva to enter and slay the preoccupied Shao Kahn. But Kano betrayed Shiva and informed Shao Kahn of her assassination plot. When Kano called her in, Shao Kahn thrust a sword through her chest from behind. Impressed with Kano's loyalty, even in the face of severe punishment or death, the Emperor Shao Kahn put him in charge of his armies in place of the slain Motaro. He ordered Kano to return to Outworld to bring reinforcements for the final attack on Earthrealm. Kano had once again repelled Katana's forces, but he did not know for how long he could hold them off. He went to personally inform Shao Kahn of the victory, but discovered the Emperor to be engaged in a spectacular battle with the two sorcerers, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung. He stood behind a pillar and waited for the outcome of the battle. At first, it had seemed that Shao Kahn would emerge victorious, but the combined strength of Quan Chi and Shang Tsung proved to be too much for the weakened Emperor. The sorcerers had won. Kano then emerged from the shadows and pledged his allegiance to the Deadly Alliance. While playing, Kano felt slow and weak. His attacks were easily sidestepped and countered, but at least his blades did some decent damage. He was far more formidable as an opponent than when I played as him.
Kano wins. Kano wins. Finish him. Wins. Fatality.
Kano and Sonya had fought before. Although Kano was humiliated by his defeat at her hands so many years ago, this time the outcome would be different. Kano had stolen Quan Chi's amulet at the request of Shang Tsung. With the amulet in his possession, Kano came to the realization that he was now in total control of the revived undefeatable army. Rather than hand the amulet and the army over to Shang Tsung, Kano kept them for himself and used the army to ambush Sonya, ending their long rivalry once and for all.
Sonya Blade was part of a special force unit assigned to combat international criminal organizations. She and her partner Jackson Briggs had tried to warn the US government of the impending threat from the realm of Outworld, but their words fell on deaf ears. It was not long before the unprotected realm of Earth fell under the invasion of the Emperor Shao Kahn. During Shao Kahn's invasion of Earthrealm, Sonya faced off with a Black Dragon member known as Kano, atop a high building. She had dealt with Kano before, and she was intent on making this encounter the last. After Kano had dealt her a devastating blow, she feinted defeat to draw Kano in. When he was in position, she hurled him over the side of the building to the street below. Sonya was visited by the god of thunder Raiden. He asked for her aid in the coming fight against the Deadly Alliance. Sonya agreed to join her old friend and ally, but she expressed concern that all inter-realm portals on Earth were destroyed. Raiden instructed her to meet with the other heroes on the old island fortress in the Lost Sea, where he would address this issue. Sonya was the complete opposite of Kano. She fell quick and hit with force, with her weapons particularly strong in overwhelming her opponents with a barrage of quick strikes.
Sonya wins. Finish him! Sonya wins. Fatality.
After the destruction of the Deadly Alliance, Sonya searched for the missing Special Forces agent Kenshi. She finally discovered him, badly beaten and near death, apparently from hook-like wounds in his ribcage. She managed to return him to the rendezvous point where I transported them back to Earthrealm. Upon her return, Sonya was promoted to General and given a choice of command. She handpicked a team to deal with new terrorist threats located on Earth, while in Outworld, Special Agent Kenshi had learned of a new threat to peace. The Red Dragon had awakened.
The Hollywood movie star, Johnny Cage, is more concerned with flash than with substance. Even with this lack of discipline, his moves are still quite effective. Johnny Cage was exactly as described, all flash and no substance. He was decent at close range, but struggled mightily against ranged attacks or a blocking opponent. His special moves were easily dodged, or straight up missed, even if the opponent wasn't blocking. However, he could at least easily stun-lock Moloch.
Johnny Cage wins. Johnny Cage wins. Johnny Cage wins. Finish him! Johnny Cage wins. Fatality.
Upset by the way his adventures had been portrayed in the past, Johnny Cage found a loophole in his contract and left MCM Studios during the production of Mortal Kombat: The Death of Johnny Cage. He then used his own money to fund the production of his next movie, which is rumored to be the true story of his latest adventures in Outworld. Mortal Kombat: Deadly Alliance broke all records in its first weekend in theaters and made Johnny Cage extremely wealthy. The movie told the true story of how Johnny Cage single-handedly saved the world from the threat of Quan Chi and Shang Tsung's Deadly Alliance.
Kung Lao is a descendant of the first mortal to ever defeat Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat. With the help of his fellow Shaolin monk Liu Kang, he has protected Earthrealm from the forces of evil. But when Kung Lao discovered the dead body of Liu Kang, he had but one objective: to avenge his death and bring the murderer to justice. Kung Lao realized that he could not defeat Shang Tsung without additional training. The Outworld Master, Bo Raicho, had taught Liu Kang the flying kick he needed to defeat the sorcerer in the past. Kung Lao eventually located Bo Raicho, who agreed to train him for the battle to come. Kung Lao was the perfect combination of speed and power, with combos that quickly and easily chained together and utilized all fighting styles. His razor-sharp hat throw and powerful broadsword made him an offensive powerhouse, proficient from both long range and close quarters.
Fatality.
Rage fueled Kung Lao's thirst for revenge. The memory of holding his fellow monk's broken body on the Lei Tai of the Wuxi Academy grounds consumed him as he rained blow after blow down upon Shang Tsung. Kung Lao had finally mastered the attack Bo Raicho had taught him. The sorcerer could not withstand his whirlwind assault. Shang Tsung begged for mercy. Kung Lao granted him none. Upon his return to Earthrealm, Kung Lao stood before the modest shrine to Liu Kang, which had been erected by the Wuxi initiates during his absence in Outworld. He lit a stick of incense and placed it among the others already burning there. He bowed his head and prayed for safe passage to the afterlife for his friend and brother. With Shang Tsung's death, Liu Kang's spirit could rest peacefully. Earthrealm was safe once more, but at a terrible cost. The work of the White Lotus Society had become more important than ever.
Although blind, the swordman who simply calls himself Ken Shi is an accomplished warrior. The sword of his ancestors guides his movements as if he could see. The sword also seems to give him powers far beyond that of average combatants. After defeating a master swordsman in Japan, Ken Shi was confronted by an old Chinese man named Song, who explained that for a price, he could lead Ken Shi to an ancient sword of historical importance. When Ken Shi traveled to China to meet with Song, the old Chinese man guided him through an underground labyrinth which led to a burial chamber. Song instructed Ken Shi to lift the heavy stone lid from an altar-like structure. Song explained that Ken Shi would find the sword hidden inside. Upon opening the altar, the last thing Ken Shi saw was a bright green blast. He stumbled back, blinded. The old Chinese man Song was in fact the sorcerer Shang Tsung, who devoured the souls of the warrior kings that Ken Shi had released. Shang Tsung left Ken Shi to die in the labyrinth, but the sword he found inside the altar led him out by some otherworldly power. After the Special Forces operative Cyrax was reported missing in Outworld, Ken Shi was recruited as a free agent to search for him. His ulterior motive for accepting the task, however, was to seek out the sorcerer Shang Tsung. Ken Shi was a master with the sword, utilizing quick yet heavy strikes. Combined with telekinesis, he manipulated his opponent's position to keep him within striking distance, but could also push them away to create space.
Wins. Finish him! Finish him! Wins. Fatality.
Kenshi had finally caught up with Shang Tsung in Outworld. Years ago, Kenshi had been manipulated into releasing the souls of his warrior ancestors. Shang Tsung had consumed those souls and left Kenshi to die in the tomb. The ordeal left Kenshi blinded, but the sword of his ancestors led him out of the depths. To redeem himself, Kenshi had vowed to free his ancestors from their captor. He cut Shang Tsung down with his ancestral sword, and a blast of souls was instantly released. The spirits of the warrior kings re-entered the sword as Kenshi held it above his head. His duty fulfilled, he could now return to Earthrealm.
Native to Outworld, Bo' Rai Cho has trained warriors for centuries to compete in the Mortal Kombat tournaments. After many failures, success finally came when he trained the legendary Liu Kang, who defeated Shang Tsung and became champion of the Earthrealm tournament. Personally, I was not a fan of Bo' Rai Cho and found his drunk fist style particularly frustrating. His movement was sluggish and unnaturally awkward, making it difficult to properly time his attacks. It was completely shocking to discover this drunken oaf was the master who trained Liu Kang.
Wins. Flawless victory. Raichu wins. Finish him. Raichu wins. Raichu wins. Fatality.
Bo' Rai Cho looked gruff, but beamed inwardly. With their victory over the Deadly Alliance complete, he and Kung Lao had liberated Outworld from its latest threat. Despite the years that had passed since training his last student, his skills had proven useful once more. He was elated, but it would be inappropriate to express such emotions in front of his newest apprentice. Kung Lao invited his master to return with him to Earthrealm to teach more warriors at the Wuxi Academy. The success of his apprentice gave him renewed confidence in his training skills and, for the first time, a clear purpose in life. Bo' Rai Cho offered only token resistance. He accepted the offer because the defenders of Earthrealm could certainly use his help, but more importantly, because Earthrealm's rice wine put Outworld's liquor to shame.
The Red Dragon member Mavado is much more skilled and disciplined than Kano, his counterpart in the Black Dragon. His excessive training with the Red Dragon has led him to develop a long-forgotten fighting technique known only to his clan. In the last century, many of the more reckless members became dissatisfied with the restraints the code of the Red Dragon placed upon them, and broke away to form their own gang, the Black Dragon. Since then, it has been the Red Dragon's #1 priority to eliminate their former brothers. It was thought that the Black Dragon had been completely destroyed, until one member resurfaced, Kano. Like the Black Dragon thug Kano, Mavado uses a double weapon fighting style. It is rumored that Mavado acquired his hook swords from the former Black Dragon member Cabal after a vicious battle. The Red Dragon is known by criminal organizations to place a priority on stealth rather than brute force. Movado is no exception. In his quest to destroy the Black Dragon clan, Movado ordered his subordinate Su Hao to pose as a member of the Chinese secret military and aid the special forces in capturing or killing Black Dragon members. The special forces would therefore be doing the Red Dragon's work for them. Movado was powerful with the hook swords, but very limited in combos and variation. His conquest path even had 3 sparring missions, showcasing just how little there was to learn and how limited his strategy and special moves were.
Movado wins. Movado wins. Flawless victory. Finish him! Finish him! Movado wins. Fatality.
For many years, Movado's Red Dragon clan had been secretly engineering the destruction of their rivals, the Black Dragon. Through careful manipulation, Movado had used the special forces to unwittingly aid them in this task. In return for eliminating Kenshi for the Deadly Alliance, Movado was finally granted his battle with the last known member of the Black Dragon, Kano. After a long, brutal fight, Movado emerged victorious, and all traces of the Black Dragon had been erased. Impressed with the fighting skill and discipline of Movado, as well as other members of his clan, Quan Chi realized the potential the Red Dragon held for staging the eventual invasion of Earthrealm. In return for their continued assistance, he offered crucial information about a new threat to Movado's Red Dragon clan, the Lin Kuei.
The sorcerer Shang Tsung is cursed to consume the souls of defeated warriors in order to stay alive. From these souls, he attains greater strength and ability. It could be said that his fighting skill is the culmination of those he has conquered. Quan Chi had come to Shang Tsung with an offer to form an alliance. He explained in detail how the two sorcerers could greatly benefit each other if they joined forces. Shang Tsung was no fool. He understood the risks involved with Quan Chi's proposal. But after some convincing from his fellow sorcerer, he readily agreed. Shang Tsung was decent, with quick strikes and a powerful sword. His lifesteal was unique, but I struggled with manipulating his movement to my advantage. He was a much tougher opponent, constantly dancing and twisting around to avoid damage and thrusting forward to stagger your attacks.
Shang Tsung wins. Shang Tsung wins. Finish him! Shang Tsung wins. Shang Tsung wins. Finish him! Shang Tsung wins. Fatality.
The Deadly Alliance was successful in reviving the mummified remains of the Dragon King's undefeatable army. Shang Tsung, however, began to realize that his relevance in the partnership had evaporated once his talents for soul transplantation were no longer needed. The balance of power within the Deadly Alliance had seemingly been undone. Fearing betrayal, he secretly instructed Kano to steal Quan Chi's amulet in an attempt to gain control of the army. Since part of the soul transfer spell included the command to obey he who possesses the amulet, the army would obey only Shang Tsung and not Quan Chi once the amulet was in his possession. Amulet in hand, Shang Tsung revealed his betrayal to Quan Chi and commanded the army to destroy the sorcerer. Shang Tsung would succeed where others had failed. He would conquer the realms. He would conquer Earth.
Quan Chi.
The sorcerer Quan Chi is as vile as they come. His combat skills come from a great understanding of sorcery, rather from actual training or practice. It seemed that Quan Chi had been trapped in the Netherrealm to be forever tormented by the ninja specter Scorpion. But fate turned to Quan Chi's favor when two Oni, Moloch and Draman, presented him ancient information regarding his amulet. Quan Chi used the information to escape from the Netherrealm through a cloaked realm gateway without his Oni companions. Quan Chi emerged in Outworld to find himself inside a large stone structure. He felt his powers returning and used them to decipher the hieroglyphics on a large sarcophagus. He was amazed to discover that he had stumbled upon the tomb of the long-forgotten Dragon King and his undefeatable army. Quan Chi had discovered that the amulet he stole from the elder god Shinnok was in fact a key to manipulate interrealm portals. Quan Chi pledged to unlock a portal to the heavens to allow Shang Tsung to feed from the limitless souls of that realm. In return, Shang Tsung agreed to transplant the souls of defeated warriors into the mummified remains of the Dragon King's army. With a handshake to seal the unholy pact, the Deadly Alliance was formed. Quan Chi possessed my favorite weapon in the game, making him an absolute powerhouse and incredibly formidable foe to overcome in battle. With a staggering palm strike, relentless trip attack, high damaging combos, and brutal strikes, Quan Chi could take you out in the blink of an eye.
Flawless victory. Finish him. Quan Chi wins. Fatality.
The Deadly Alliance was successful in reviving the mummified remains of the Dragon King's undefeatable army. It would appear that nothing could stand in the way of Shang Tsung and Quan Chi as they began their domination of the realms. Unfortunately for Shang Tsung, however, Quan Chi had no further need for the partnership. Once Shang Tsung had finally revived the last of the mummified warriors, Quan Chi closed the portal to the heavens and effectively shut off Shang Tsung's endless supply of souls. Quan Chi then instructed Kano to assassinate Shang Tsung in a surprise weapon attack. With their captor cut wide open, the thousands of souls Shang Tsung had consumed in the past spewed forth and swirled around the room. Quan Chi came to the realization that if Kano could so easily turn on Shang Tsung, he could also turn on Quan Chi himself. Quan Chi used his sorcery to drain the life from Kano and left his body where it fell. Immediately, one of the lingering souls shot into Kano's body. To Quan Chi's surprise, the man standing before him was no longer the black dragon thug known as Kano. Kano's body now contained the soul of the Shaolin monk, Liu Kang.
Cyrax is both part man and part machine. His cybernetic implants give him the edge he needs to defeat the most deadly of foes. He has recently been stranded in Outworld and must fight to stay alive as he travels with Natara on a quest to find a mystical orb. Cyrax was transformed into a cyborg by the Lin Kuei in an automation program that Sub-Zero defied. For that defiance, Sub-Zero became an enemy of the Lin Kuei, and Cyrax was reprogrammed to seek and destroy him as a traitor. Cyrax was eventually reprogrammed by Sub-Zero to defeat Shao Kahn. Once the Emperor's attack on Earth was foiled, Cyrax had no further instructions and shut down in a barren desert. He was recovered by Special Forces agents Sonya and Jax, who restored his soul through a dangerous technical procedure. He has since joined forces with them to protect Earthrealm from otherworldly threats. Cyrax was juggle-focused, but didn't do anything particularly special. He was mid, with nothing that made him OP, but also nothing that held him back.
Cyrax wins. Cyrax wins. Flawless victory. Finish him. Cyrax wins. Finish him. Fatality.
The enormous heat and pressure of the lava burned out Cyrax's sensors almost immediately. He cast about blindly in the infernal pit, searching for the orb Natara had sent him to locate. Cyrax found it resting upon a small submerged pedestal beneath the molten depths. As soon as he clambered to the surface, she demanded he hand over the orb. Natara had promised to return Cyrax to Earthrealm once the orb had been retrieved. Taking her necklace in hand, she uttered a mystical incantation. A swirling portal opened around Cyrax had he only had time for a solemn bow before he was swept into the gateway.
An Oni is a demon from the Netherrealm. They are foul creatures, consumed with hatred and possessed with a desire to inflict pain and suffering upon others. Draman is no exception. With his right arm completely encased in an iron club, he eagerly crushes his opponents to dust. Quan Chi had indeed left them behind, but as they drew nearer to the mystical structure, it was clear to them that the portal had not yet been closed. Moloch and Draman crossed through the void, into Outworld. Draman was an absolute waste of a character slot. With an iron fist serving as a permanent weapon, all of his stances were essentially the same. He was sluggish and one-dimensional with no combos. It was incredibly difficult and annoying to fight Moloch or block-heavy opponents, with no real ways to change things up or chain together large chunks of damage. The only upside was that the Iron Fist did at least hit satisfyingly hard, with a thump, but otherwise, I had no use for Draman.
Finish him! Draman wins. Fatality.
Sent by the sorcerer Shang Tsung, the two Oni known as Draman and Moloch confronted Quan Chi, enraged that he had tried to leave them stranded in the bowels of the Netherrealm. In the battle that ensued, Draman leapt at Quan Chi, and both combatants stumbled into the inner sanctum chamber. Moments later, Draman emerged from the chamber, altered from his previous form.
Frost.
The mysterious Lin Kuei Frost has powers and abilities that closely resemble those of Sub-Zero. Her past is not known, but her moves are becoming legendary. While Frost didn't have much to offer in background lore, her fighting style provided plenty of substance. Unlike Sub-Zero, her weapon attacks didn't hit as hard and required more finesse, relying on her speed rather than power. To stand apart from her master, Frost utilized fast-chaining combos, long-reaching kicks, and her own ways to freeze an opponent.
Frost wins. Flawless victory. Fight! Frost wins. Frost wins. Frost wins. Finish him! Fatality.
As they traveled back to the portal that would return them to Earthrealm, Sub-Zero revealed to Frost that she had been an integral part in the destruction of the Deadly Alliance, and that he was proud to have her as a member of the Lin Kuei clan. But unknown to Sub-Zero, Frost's true intention for joining the Lin Kuei was to become Grandmaster herself. She used her Ice Blast to temporarily immobilize him and rip the dragon medallion from his chest. As she held the medallion, she felt power surge through her body. Lacking the strength and discipline required to control the medallion's immense power, she was consumed by her own freezing ability.
The Red Dragon operative Su Hao's strength is his ability to concentrate on one objective at a time. He is not easily distracted and lives to serve the will of his clan. This characteristic may be a side effect of his cybernetic heart. Without ambition, there can be no distraction. All that remains is duty. Su Hao completed his training, and Movado gave him his first assignment. He was to infiltrate the Special Forces by posing as a member of a secret Chinese military group. From the inside, the Red Dragon clan could keep track of the Special Forces, as well as covertly feed them information about their rival clan, the Black Dragon. Su Hao had a unique grappling style, with powerful slams of a heavyweight wrestler. Combined with a similar weapon style to Kano, he was a formidable fighter.
Flawless victory. Finish him. Su Hao wins. Su Hao wins. Su Hao wins. Fatality.
Su Hao reported to his superior, Movado, and informed him of his success in destroying the Special Forces Outer World Investigation Agency. Movado then informed Su Hao of his next objective. It seemed that Quan Chi was proving to be a powerful ally and was willing to aid the Red Dragon in its quest for domination of Earth. In a show of good faith, Movado agreed to destroy Quan Chi's enemies. The sorcerer suspected betrayal from Shang Tsung. There was evidence that Shang Tsung had allied with the two Oni, known as Moloch and Ramen. Su Hao's new orders were to eliminate the sorcerer Shang Tsung before the Oni eliminated Quan Chi.
As an operative of the Special Forces, Jax had developed many special moves that gave him the edge he needed to destroy the Black Dragon. Now that the Red Dragon has infiltrated and destroyed his hidden Special Forces base, Jax must refocus his energy on this new threat to peace. Jax was limited in combos and variety, but made up for it with his special moves, except for the Hammer Fist, which simply went through an opponent and would have been a great anti-air attack if it didn't miss so much. Otherwise, he used his metallic arms to smash and bash through his opponents.
Fatality.
Jax had a score to settle with the traitor he knew as Su Hao. Now revealed to be a member of the Red Dragon, Su Hao had infiltrated the Special Forces Outer World Investigation Agency and destroyed it with a miniature nuclear weapon. Making good on his promise, Jax eventually caught up with Su Hao and ripped the implant from his chest in retribution. Su Hao died a most painful death.
Kitana.
Princess Kitana was at war with the Emperor of Outworld, Shao Kahn. She had joined forces with Prince Goro of the Shokan and was effectively confronting Kano's troops. The combined forces of Kitana and Goro made one last push against Kano's troops, but were unsuccessful in breaching his line of defense. Tragically, near the end of that skirmish, Prince Goro was fatally injured. His men brought him back to the encampment, where Kitana stayed by his side until he passed. Kitana was not my favorite fighter. She was clunky in her movement and was easily outmaneuvered. If you missed with her impale attack, the fans were gone, and she had very little in the special moves to begin with to make up for this. She was a nimble and tricky opponent though, with far-reaching kicks, but I just couldn't get her fighting style down.
Kitana wins. Flawless victory. Kitana wins. Kitana wins. Wins. Fatality.
Kitana's longtime enemy Shao Kahn was dead, and the alliance between Shang Tsung and Quan Chi was defeated with the help of warriors from Earthrealm. Although there was peace once more throughout the realms, all was not right for Kitana. Saddened by the death of Goro, she attended a ceremony in the Kuotan Palace to honor her fallen friend and ally. Following Shokan tradition, Prince Goro's body was lowered into the molten rock contained within the throne room itself. As Kitana said goodbye to her wartime ally, she also held a moment of silence for Liu Kang, and secretly wished he had joined her in Edenia so many years ago.
The Vampire Nation has existed for eons, and has traveled to many realms to feed on the blood of lesser species. Earthrealm has been an excellent source of food, but its sun emits a form of radiation that is quite harmful to vampires. As a result, vampires can only traverse to that realm for brief periods of time, and only to the hemisphere opposite the sun. The vampire Nitara first manipulated Reptile into destroying the console on Cyrax's arm, which rendered the cyborg stranded in Outworld. She then manipulated Cyrax to retrieve a mysterious orb hidden somewhere in that realm. Nitara was my best fighter. The perfect blend of speed and power, she was a beast up close, with fearsome combinations and blood-sucking maneuvers. If an opponent was at a distance, special attacks could close the gap, or she could send projectiles flying their way.
Mitama wins. Finish him! Mitama wins. Fatality.
After what seemed like an eternity, Cyrax finally emerged from the lava, holding the orb that had bound Nitara's realm to Outworld for ages. At last it was within her grasp. She would be able to free her people from Shao Kahn's imprisonment. Fulfilling her end of the bargain, she sent Cyrax back to his Earthrealm home in exchange for the orb. Nitara stared into the orb. It seethed with the power trapped within. She raised it above her head and then smashed it to the floor. It shattered with an inhuman, soul-rending howl. Its horrible energy exploded away and tore her consciousness from her. She awoke later for the first time on her native soil.
The Thunder God Raiden is mentor to all the heroes of Earthrealm. He is ageless, wise, and can harness the wrath of thunder itself. Once Earth's heroes had assembled on a beach of Shang Tsung's abandoned island fortress, Raiden appeared to them and explained in detail the events leading up to the formation of the Deadly Alliance. Although Kung Lao had already known, the others were shocked to learn that their old friend and ally, Liu Kang, was dead. As the God of Thunder, Raiden struck like lightning. He had long and easy to input combos and electrifyingly strong grabs.
Raiden wins. Raiden wins. Flawless victory. Finish him! Raiden wins. Finish him! Raiden wins. Finish him! Raiden wins. Fatality.
Once again, the threat to Earthrealm has been vanquished. The deadly alliance is no more. What dangers lie in the future I can no longer foresee. Perhaps the Dragon King will in fact return. Perhaps the depths of the Netherrealm will spew forth a legion of Oni. Even the vampire people pose a threat to peace now that Outworld is in chaos. But one thing is certain. Earthrealm must be protected. I have abandoned my status as Elder God to aid these mortals and act defiant of the heavens. I will instead remain here on Earth as God of Thunder.
Reptile.
The warrior known as Reptile has grown much stronger and more primal since his first appearance in the tournament. His physical appearance has morphed into something more animal than man. Reptile believed that his master's death was his fault. He should have returned to the fortress much sooner. In anguish over his failure, he wandered outworld aimlessly until he came across Natara. Feeling the need to redeem himself, he pledged his life to her service. This time, he would not fail. He would protect his new master well. Reptile had a badass new look and excellent moveset to go along with it. His patented acid spit and deadly swings of the sword made Reptile a highly dangerous fighter. He was a character I breezed through arcade mode with the fastest, sweeping the ladder, and this was the only character I was able to do that with.
Flawless victory. Reptile wins. Finish him. Reptile wins. Reptile wins. Fatality.
Despite the strong sulfurous stench that filled the chamber, Reptile could smell that Natara and Cyrax had been there recently. There was no sign of them now, except for some scattered glass shards and a residual trace of strong magical energies. His revenge would have to wait. Suddenly, an expectant hush filled the chamber as energy cascaded around what appeared to be a dragon embryo. The tiny dragon stretched, and the egg cracked. A beam of energy ripped out from inside and lanced into Reptile. His world was filled with a roaring power as his squamous body was twisted and transformed. The ancient prophecy had been fulfilled. The Dragon King had returned.
Once you have completed all 218 missions in Conquest mode by playing as each of the 21 fighters, you will unlock 2 additional secret characters, Mocap and Blaze. These hidden fighters don't show up on the fighter selection screen, but can be accessed by holding down and hitting the start button on either Raiden or Cyrax. Unfortunately, Mocap and Blaze do not have a weapon stance, fatality, or conquest mode. They do possess 3 styles that have already been learned from other characters, so you will have to rely on memory or the move list to master their techniques. Despite their more limited options, Mocap and Blaze do have unique endings for completing arcade mode.
Having been enslaved through sorcery to guard the molten incubation chamber, Blaze was finally freed once the dragon egg had hatched. He then resumed the quest he had undertaken before being subdued by his captors.
Once you have completed arcade and conquest mode for each of the fighters, all that is left to do is spend your coins in the crypt. The crypt is a massive underground area comprised of 676 coffins, each with a unique reward inside. The required payment to open a coffin varies from just a few coins to thousands. Contained within are a wide array of unlockables, such as new fighters, alternate costumes, new battle arenas, concept art, extra coins, hints, and videos, including my personal favorite, Cooking with Scorpion.
This week on Cooking with Scorpion, learn about chopping, tenderizing, chopping, cake decorating, and chopping.
Appropriately, opening the FU coffin contains absolutely nothing. With so much to unlock, the crypt rewards will keep you playing long after you've beat the game. When I first played this game, I didn't have the luxury of an online guide, so finding new characters or arenas was a big deal that made the grind worth it, while coming up short was devastating and a waste of your coins. Typically, the more expensive coffins contain the better rewards, so this was a good starting point. Overall, Deadly Alliance is one of my favorite Mortal Kombat games. I heavily played the original trilogy on the Sega Genesis, before skipping Mortal Kombat 4 for some reason, and getting back into the series with Deadly Alliance. I definitely have nostalgia for this game, but I love how each fighter has their own style, moveset, and weapon. The shocking death of Liu Kang set the tone right from the start, letting you know in devastating fashion that things were going to be different. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi made for formidable foes at the top of the ladder, with Moloch a massive roadblock standing between you and victory. The original trilogy was easy enough to pick up and play, with limited options and the same basic moveset across all characters. While you can still hop straight in and have a blast, Deadly Alliance requires you to know the ins and outs of each individual fighter, with a much more complex and detailed fighting system. Each fighter had an individual flow and nuance to their mechanics, allowing you to find the character that best suited your personal playstyle. Some combos were easy to pick up, but others required repetition to get the cadence down. While Conquest mode was no more than a tutorial, it did allow you to get acquainted with each fighter, giving you an edge in battle, knowing what your opponent brings to the table. Conquest mode was improved and expanded upon in later games, but the foundation was laid out here. The visuals were stunning on the next generation console, with upgraded, highly detailed, and more realistic character models. As your fighter took damage, their appearance would change, showing the wounds and scars of battle. The tone and theme of the game is shrouded in darkness, and the battle arenas and environments reflected this accordingly. Ominous sounds of trapped souls and screams of the dead created a dark and gloomy ambiance. Whether you were battling the elements in the freezing cold, having your skin seared by acidic baths, or fighting for survival in the depths of a dingy dungeon, the different stages added to the immersion and risk of failure. The Deadly Alliance pose a major threat, and that pressure is felt throughout the game, knowing death is just around the corner, and overcoming one deadly foe is just the beginning, as another lies in wait. Personally, I'm not that great at this game, so I played on lower difficulties, but even then, the opponents could be quite tough, favoring endless blocking and insanely fast sidesteps to avoid damage, and then they would follow up with long combinations. If you can overcome the odds and take out the Deadly Alliance, the victory is quite sweet. I recommend this game if you are a fan of the series, as this game had the usual gruesome and intense blood and guts one expects from a Mortal Kombat game. But there is more to this game than mindless carnage. The gameplay mechanics were diverse and rewarding, with smooth animations, making for a really great fighting game. While some fatalities were strangely lackluster, the overall experience does not disappoint. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for playing through my PlayStation 2 collection, number 6.